There are dark corners of the internet that remain hidden from plain sight. But sometimes, the deadliest secrets are operating right in front of us.
Deep within the encrypted layers of the web, a massive database was quietly growing. We tracked the signal as it bounced across the states. 3 coordinates, 3 cities, all connected to a single, hidden server node. The deeper we dug, the more we realized this wasn't just a hack. It was an infrastructure built for a specific, dark purpose. The names were fake. The faces were AI generated. Behind every ghost account was a blueprint for a real-world operation. I spent weeks staring at the code until the patterns started to emerge. And what I saw next changed everything I thought I knew.
The system was rigged. Every time we got close to the source, a wall went up. Someone, or
they were hiding in plain sight, using ordinary American neighborhoods as digital safe houses to coordinate their next move.
When the final layer of encryption cracked, the floodgates opened. The data wasn't just text, it was a digital hit list.
The connection was clear. The digital signals I found in the code were being used to guide a killer directly to their doorstep.
The first secret was out, but the hunt had only just begun. What happens next will shock the core of the internet. The digital trail didn't stay online. It bled into the real world, leaving breadcrumbs scattered across ordinary American towns.
We found the first physical link in a motel room outside of DC. A digital signature left behind in a world of paper and ink.
We tracked the IP to a proxy server in a quiet Ohio suburb. It was a dead drop for encrypted military-grade comms. Buried in the server logs were fragmented image files. When we reconstructed the data, the picture became terrifyingly clear. The name Quiet Pills was an inside joke, a dark, operational euphemism for a problem that needed a permanent, silent solution.
Every time I found a solid lead, the network would shift. They were actively monitoring the nodes, scrubbing the evidence in real time.
I stopped looking at the code and started following the money. Shell companies, crypto wallets, and untraceable wire transfers.
The persona ReligionOfPeace was the architect, a master manipulator who used a fake digital identity to coordinate a private army.
This wasn't just online chatter. They had boots on the ground, spotters and operators moving through American streets completely unnoticed.
I triggered a tripwire deep in the source code. In an instant, the hunters realized they were being hunted.
The deeper I went, the closer I got to the trigger. And their next assassination job was already in motion.
We were tracing a shadow that didn't want to be found. But the deeper we went, the more we realized the shadow was already behind us. Breaking in was the easy part. But once we crossed the firewall, we realized the system was designed to hunt the hunter.
We bypassed the first layer of security, but it triggered a silent alarm. The network began to reconfigure itself in real time.
The hardware was hidden in a black site in downtown DC. This wasn't a civilian server. It was military-grade infrastructure.
I had less than 60 seconds before the system initiated a total wipe. My fingers were moving faster than my brain could process.
The master key worked. It didn't just open a door, it exposed the entire operational command of the network.
The live feeds were active. We were watching the executioners in their staging areas, waiting for the final green light. It was a hit list. Names, addresses, and daily routines of people who were marked for quiet removal. The targets were already being surrounded. The digital signals I was tracking were the final go codes for the strike teams. I watched the icons disappear one by one. I was witnessing a mass execution in real time, and I was powerless to stop it. The architect's mask was finally slipping. But as we unmasked him, the system locked onto my own location.
I triggered a failsafe. The purge had begun, not just of their data, but of everyone who had seen it. The game of shadows was over. Now, it was a race for survival. They knew who I was, and they were coming. The moment they traced my signal, my old life was over. I had to burn everything, digital and physical, before they found my door.
Hard drives, servers, backups, it all had to go. If they got their hands on my local cache, the names of my sources would be a death sentence. I dropped my phone in a storm drain in Philly. My last link to the grid was dead. From now on, I was a ghost.
I took the train west. No cards, no IDs, just cash and a head full of encrypted secrets that I couldn't forget. I could feel the eyes of the grid everywhere. Facial recognition, transit cameras. They were professional. They didn't just want the data, they wanted to erase the person who found it. They were leaving a trail of lead.
I bought a burner in Vegas. One call, 10 seconds, then destroy the device. It was the only way to reach my last remaining contact.
I thought I was safe in the desert. But the digital shadow is long, and it reaches even the most forgotten corners of America.
The algorithms were narrowing the search. They were triangulating my speed, my direction, and my destination. The net was closing.
The system wasn't just tracking me anymore. It was shouting my location to every strike team in a 500-mile radius.
They were willing to kill the power to a whole city just to stop me from uploading what I knew. They were burning it all down.
I'm off the grid now. No name, no trace. But the truth is still out there, and I'm the only one left to tell it.
The most dangerous messages aren't encrypted in blocks of code. They are hidden right in front of us, inside the images we see every day.
I found the frequencies buried in an MP3 file. It wasn't music, it was a rhythmic pulse of encrypted coordinates.
One single folder contained more than just text. It held the structural blueprints for every high-value target on the network's list.
They were using analog steganography too, hidden marks on physical documents that only revealed themselves under the right light.
Every pixel was a container. Every shade of color was a piece of a larger, deadlier puzzle. The scale of the deception was incredible. The messages were being posted on public forums for everyone to see, but only those with the key knew how to read the truth.
When I saw the blueprint for the weapon, I realized this wasn't just data theft. This was an active, global assassination infrastructure. The drives were nested. Deep layers of encryption meant that even if you found the data, you were still miles away from the source. The key wasn't in one file. It was spread across hundreds of images. You had to have the entire set to unlock the payload.
The breakthrough came at a cost. The final message confirmed what I feared most.
The turning point had been reached. I had the truth, but now the clock was ticking down to zero. The next move was theirs.
Encryption is more than just math. It's a language of secrets. To find the source, I had to learn how to speak their code.
The patterns were there, hidden in the noise. It wasn't random. It was a rhythmic sequence designed to look like garbage data. I stripped away the outer layers. Inside the junk code, I found location markers, coordinates pointing to dead drops across the United States.
Readers.
I watched the data stream for days until my eyes burned. Then, finally, the lock clicked.
The code acted as a digital nervous system, connecting isolated nodes into a single, cohesive network of shadows.
The final piece of the puzzle wasn't on a server. It was a handwritten note from a source who didn't survive the night. It was a recursive loop, a code within a code, designed to delete itself if the wrong key was applied.
They even hid commands in the background noise of public broadcasts. A barcode of instructions hidden in plain hearing.
The vault was open. I wasn't just looking at logs anymore. I was looking at the master control of the entire operation.
The decoded files were more than just names. It was a roadmap for a coup, a plan to take down the grid from the inside out.
I had the codes. I had the truth. But now that I knew their secrets, they had every reason to make sure I never spoke again. I thought Quiet Pills was a drug operation. I was wrong. It was a code, a dark digital shorthand for a permanent solution.
They weren't selling medicine. They were selling hits. Every prescription filled meant a target was neutralized.
The network used mundane public spaces as dead drops, a gym locker, a subway bin, that they were hiding weapons in plain sight. I watched as they live-streamed their targets. It was a spectator sport for the dark web's elite, a hunt with no rules. They had cleaner teams ready to scrub the crime scene before the local police even arrived. A professional, synchronized shadow army, private airstrips, unmarked planes. They were moving assets across the country faster than the authorities could track them. The confirmation came in a text. No names, just a simple status update. Another quiet pill had been administered.
There were no police reports, no news headlines. They didn't just kill people, they deleted their existence from the record. I found the list, but I found it too late. My name was at the bottom. The prescription was already being filled.
The quiet pills aren't just for them anymore. They are for me. And the first team is already at my door.
They didn't just stop. They began to erase. In a matter of minutes, the entire digital architecture I had spent months tracking began to vanish.
They triggered a remote purge. Every server, every hard drive, every byte of data was being incinerated from the inside out.
I watched as my evidence files simply evaporated. My screen was a graveyard of broken links and empty directories.
The network was going dark. One city at a time, the signals were being cut. The Shadow Army was retreating into the void. They weren't just deleting files, they were deleting people. Wiping identities from official records as if they never existed.
They weren't just deleting files, they were deleting people. Wiping identities from official records as if they never existed. Even the physical evidence seemed to betray me. It was like fighting a ghost that could rewrite reality itself.
The public record was being altered in real time. The assassinations I witnessed were being rebranded as accidents.
The safe houses were empty. The families were gone. Not a footprint, not a fingerprint. Just silence and the desert wind.
This was the Great Vanishing.
The screens went black. The noise stopped. I was alone in the dark, with nothing but a blinking cursor and a memory of the truth.
They are gone, but I'm still here. And as long as I'm breathing, the secret isn't dead yet. It's just waiting.
They thought they deleted everything. But you can't kill a secret that was born in the era of magnetic tape and radio waves.
The digital world was dead, but the analog ghost was still screaming. A low-frequency pulse, buried under layers of static.
I found a mainframe backup from the 90s. It was an offline repository, a physical record of the network's early architecture.
I had to build a bridge between two worlds. I was using 21st century power to wake up a 20th century monster.
The data wasn't an IP address anymore. It was a physical coordinate, a patch of dirt in the middle of nowhere that shouldn't exist. The network had a heart, an offline echo node that stayed alive even when the main system was purged. I saw the location. It wasn't a server farm or an office building. It was a bunker, built to survive the end of the world. The dish was still receiving. It was a silent sentinel, broadcasting the Quiet Pills contracts to the teams on the ground. I drove through the night, chasing a signal that was 30 years old. The shadow was finally taking a physical shape. The entrance was hidden under the sand, a high-tech lock on a rusted door. This was the heart of the nest. I had the key, and I had the proof. But once I opened that door, there was no turning back to the digital world.
The echo had led me home. Now, it was time to meet the architect of the silence.
This was it. The heart of the machine. I wasn't just breaking in, I was here to end the silence forever.
The air in the bunker smelled like ozone and dying secrets. Every step I took felt like I was walking into the mouth of a digital god.
The core wasn't just hardware, it was the absolute source. A pulsing red hub of hidden data that had controlled the entire network for decades.
I had the payload. The names of every operator, every contract, and every lie.
The system fought back with everything it had. It was a digital war of attrition. My truth against their encryption.
I wasn't just uploading data, I was injecting a virus. A truth so raw that the network's foundation couldn't sustain its own weight.
And then, the lock broke. The payload was delivered. The shadow was finally...
The core couldn't survive the purge. The hardware began to incinerate itself as the truth tore through its circuits. Across the country, the nodes went dark. The hit lists were deleted. The machinery of death had been decapitated in a single second. The headlines changed. The accidents were reclassified. The names I had found were finally on the evening news, where they belonged.
I walked out into a world that was finally awake. The digital nightmare was over. The silence was gone.
The files are public. The grid is clean. My name is off the list. But I'll be watching, because the truth always needs a witness.